Just imagine the world if there were never cannabis prohibition. Imagine what it would, it would
How
be
we
so beautiful.
excelled.
It wouldn't be so much hatred.
Right,
It wouldn't be so much dryness in the air, right?
right.
It would be so much beauty like all around us and people of kindness, right?
And
And I'm
gratitude.
like, all that happened because of prohibition, people don't want to address. But let's get to the foundations of what it was before prohibition.
Yeah.
Welcome to season 5 of the Cannabis Truth podcast. Your host is Honey Smith Walls, author of the new book, Healing Beyond High Cannabis Truth, a gentle, practical guide for elders to learn cannabis fundamentals safely and effectively without overuse or overwhelm. In a world where the FDA has yet to stamp its approval on this ancient natural remedy, Honey Smith Walls bridges the gap between Western healthcare norms, uplifting benefits and relief through gentle cannabis plant therapies. Join this 21st century cannabis shaman, uniquely positioned to assess the green intentions of medical, farming, and business industries in cannabis and uncover fascinating historical, political, scientific, and spiritual facets of the plant.
Hi, LaWann Stribling, and how are you? This is Honey, and you're on the Cannabis Truth podcast with me finally. I'm so glad that you could come.
Thank you. How you doing, honey? I'm so happy to be here finally as well.
I think you and I are both having a day. It's we just had a blow go through here yesterday that was crazy winds and power outages and stuff like that. I know everybody across the US is dealing with some sort of weather, huh?
But I heard thunder, but I don't think it rained much. So I don't know. It didn't get as hard last night, but it says we have some thunderstorms later on today too. So we'll see.
Where are you in the world?
In Prince George's County in Maryland, like close to DC.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's such a beautiful area. And I bet the trees are changing colors now.
Not quite just yet.
Not yet?
No, not yet, not yet. Usually like maybe October, around October,
Okay,
maybe
well, I
late
guess we're
September.
having a little bit more colder weather. I'm about 50 miles north of Detroit and
Okay, yeah.
in farm country, sort of, and I'm seeing red on the trees already.
Not yet for us, but I'm not very close to where the mountains are. So maybe in the mountain area, they may be starting to change over already. But we are actually recovering from a really, really hot summer.
Oh, oh,
So like most of the vegetation and flowers and stuff are really popping right now.
yeah. Well, I just went to the kids' grade school opening, with the teachers and all that, and 1,000 other family members. And it got real hot inside school last night. But I'm I'm grateful for the beautiful breeze up here. Do you talk about your ecosystem around you in front of your kids?
Yes,
My
very
grandmother
much so.
do that to me, with me too. Oh, the trees are so beautiful. Oh, look at that oak over there. Oh, it grows acorns. Let's go pick some. That sort of thing. I just
Yes.
loving those little factoids about her that she possessed.
It kind of when I didn't hear the last part you said, but yes, we are, because I'm a daycare provider, so I've been home with my children for 15 years. Well, this is year 16 now, but I'm not really running daycare since we moved. And so we're always outside and enjoying nature and all the elements of nature because I don't want them to be fearful of, what nature provides.
Right.
So not just my children, but my daycare littles too. So they love to garden and do all fun things in nature and, jump in water puddles and run through the leaves, throw the leaves up so they can fall on you. Go and go outside when it's snowing and just all the things just to feel nature, right? And digging the soil. Like my youngest, well, not the youngest, but the second to youngest daycare little I have, they were here for the summer, and every morning she's like, "Can I go digging dirt now?"
Oh God, isn't that wonderful to hear? Because we really need to return to the earth and to glean, the powers of this planet
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, and step away from as much of the um, over-the-counter and prescriptive pharmaceuticals that are synthetic,
Yeah,
that we
just
can get rid of out of our systems.
yeah,
LaWann,
all
won't
the
you
things
tell
that
everybody about
society
who you
forces on
are?
you.
Pardon me. Won't
So,
you tell everybody about who you are, and what you do, and what your philosophies about our favorite plant is?
well, I'm LaWann Stribling, and I am a mom, wife, entrepreneur, advocate, and I call myself a freedom fighter. I'm a self-proclaimed modern day Black Panther, right? Because it's just it needed to be, and I have such a strong relationship with the plant because I can talk about how it's helped me in various forms, and also how I actually use it as like an abuse mechanism and a crutch to hold me in places that I thought that was saving me, and how I overcame that and then came back to it, understanding the science behind it and just how beautiful the plant really is, right? And once I came back into this space, realizing all the things that we didn't know because of the lack of research, right? Um, how it could benefit me in my life as a mom and entrepreneur, like my daily versus having to like depend on the pharmaceuticals, right? Because I'm not a pill taker. And so anything I could do to avoid taking pills naturally, I'm interested in. And when I came back into this space, like understanding, you know, uh the terpenes in the cannabinoid systems, in the cannabinoid systems, and just like what my favorite terpenes, understanding what my why is. I thought that it was important for women, from like especially my background, to understand how we can use this plant to benefit us, as the foundational individuals in our household, right? Just to stay sane, right?
Yeah,
Just to stay sane,
yeah.
okay? And just keep functioning, and because we do so much,
We
and
do.
we do so much, but there's somehow we have to create balance, right? And with that balance, nature brought me here. So my returning therapy actually helped me get here. I've always been a plant lover. I grow like plants in my apartment. And in my townhouse, I started to do flowers because we had space to do flowers. And I didn't realize all those things was considered to be like gardening and farming, right? So I'm just thinking I'm growing plants and stuff. So then learning that I have all these things in my background ancestrally. So I'm just using the power of nature to guide me and my ancestors, right? So this is why we're here.
You're pushing all my buttons. You are pushing all my buttons, talking about all the things that I love to talk about: our ancestral history, our legacy that's
Mhm.
been handed down to us. Go on.
Well, I explored so much because like in 1985, when I was very young years old, we moved from a home that was predominantly my culture, right, to a place that was predominantly Caucasian. And I went from a school that was predominantly my culture to a school that was predominantly Caucasian. And every day I was met with hate, right? But I didn't understand why, because I'm just 9 years old. I'm not understanding how anyone can feel this way about any person, a child at least, right? So that really, really pushed me to learn more about my culture and my ethnicity, because it's not a subject that's talked about. I went to a Catholic school. Um, it was in the Caucasian neighborhood. It wasn't talked about. So I just really, really dug into myself, my culture at a very young age. And that really guided me, not understanding how all of it was going to meet together for this moment right in my life. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
just the path here has been very rewarding, but I was eager to learn everything that I could. And through my trials,
Yes.
through high school, I ended up being homeless on my 17th birthday. So I had to repeat like a whole another year of 12th grade. And I was out of private school at this point. So I went to private school all the way till March of my senior year. And they wouldn't give me my high school diploma. So I had to repeat a whole nother school year to get my high school diploma. And I went to a public school. But at that time, I was able to select an elective, which was African American Studies, right? And so at 18, I'm taking this class for the first time ever, and it introduced me to Kemet. And no one ever spoke about what we were before slavery, right? So I'm taking this class, learning about Kemet and understanding, really, really trying to understand and getting to know who and where I came from. So again, that just got me more into learning all I can about the Black Panther Party, Assata Shakur. I read Soledad Brother, George Jackson, I even read the story Monster about the gang member, and just understanding all the things that we as a community have had to deal with, right? And how we try to overcome it and the methods that we've used to overcome all the oppression. So it's just driven me.
I see that, and it's so compelling to listen to. I mean, I just want to suck every detail of your entire life story right out of you right now. I mean, I'm just, oh my God.
Yeah. It's a lot to deal with people, and it's hard to talk about it openly sometimes because even in my own family, I'm looked at like, I'm crazy for what I'm saying. Like, what are you talking about, So,
You know what? That happens in a lot of families. I still have people in my family that just don't buy what I'm doing. They just don't get it, and they use cannabis. But
and that's another funny thing, right?
it's just so freaking weird. I mean,
Oh, the stories.
the science that will help you feel better. Why are
Yeah,
you still using the nicotine and the alcohol, right? To make you feel
right,
better when there's something you already know makes you feel better without all those other side effects.
right. Well, that's the beauty, like, about my return to cannabis, because it really opened me up to explore herbs, and to learn all the things that herbs can provide for us. And you really have to renew your thinking, because everything that you were taught growing up is not accurate facts. So you have to take the journey to learn for yourself.
I just learned a new term. Oh, I'm so adorable when I'm being human. We expect so much from ourselves as women. It's the responsibility to make sure everybody else is comforted and relieved has been passed down to us.
Yep.
And apparently the genes for banging people over the head has been passed down to males. And so that just makes it a whole lot harder for us. But we're still responsible for everything, for all the emotions, for getting everything right, for getting everything scheduled, making
Yeah, all the things.
all of it. And as caretakers, are you caretakers for your children or for your elder parents?
My husband and my children, not my husband. I don't caretake for my parents. We're not that stage yet. Actually, they're doing well for they're in their 70s, and I have one living grandparent who my father actually is caring for. But at a young age, I had to assist with caring for my great aunt. So at 12 and 13 years old, we were her caretakers, basically, so she could be with us when
Doesn't
she
it
was.
call to you? Didn't it call to you too?
It was not hard. Actually, it was actually not hard to do. The one thing that I was hesitant about was just, having to give her insulin shots.
Yeah.
But it was easy, because it was like an injection thing, so you didn't have to like stick a needle in her. And she was comfortable doing with the needles herself, but it was it was comfortable to sit there and talk to her, right?
Yes.
Like I was so young that I wish that I knew to ask more questions.
Me too. I loved elder people when I was a little girl. because they gave me all their attention and told me stuff and made me make sense of, this crazy thing called life. And so,
Yeah.
I love being around elders. The other side of life calls to me. The exit, when when elders need help with the exit, that's where I'm called. I haven't officially gone into hospice work yet, but I keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's common. I can feel it's common.
I understand that feeling too, because but I don't know how long now, because I'll be 48 next month. So, but for a while, it's always been on my mind, how do we help our seniors? Like, how do we help take care of our seniors, especially the ones who still want to be able to drive to places and do their gardening work and stuff like that, right? And somewhere down the line, I feel like there's something or some organization or something that can be done so that we can provide this service for our seniors.
It just
It's needed.
Logical to me, but nothing really. Yeah.
Nothing. It's
No,
really sad, but
take a woman president to. Sorry.
who knows? But it's I tell people we need Simba, but like Scar has been in power for a very long time, right? And I'm making reference to the Lion King. I always make reference to the Lion King because think about what happened to the Pride Lands when Scar was in power, like, and it just continues on. So I tell people Scar is in power. Okay.
Wow. Well, I love this industry, and being in it, I've learned so much at Cannabis Public School. And the people who have gone on to, who continue trying to help anybody, everybody, the public learn real science about cannabis, because it really is medicine that a lot of people use recreationally.
Exactly.
But it really is medicine.
And there's a fine line, right?
To get high with,
Yes.
But it really is medicine.
It's medicinal. And I tell people, but just like, the whole fight between hemp and cannabis, I say, y'all people, it's the same thing, right? So it is the same thing. Like,
right. Oh, and just for reference, I was trying to remember to tell you, I'm 70.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I get, I'm acting more and more like an elder. My vision is getting a little myopic, because I'm watching my feet more closely. Knock it off, you all. Stop, please. I got 5 of them in here in an empty room.
I saw the text.
and minnow brain. I don't know what I was talking about. And I'm 70 and I'm still having menopausal symptoms. That's the other thing. Cannabis aided me so much with those menopausal symptoms. And and then any other fucking symptom that you get as a woman.
Right.
Really?
But it's like in every way though, because when I got back into it, it wasn't just because I didn't come back into it smoking because I was like, okay, how am I present smoking to my kids? Like my kids ain't never seen me smoke before, so I went back to making like edibles, right? But so much was done in between the time that I stopped to when I came back into the space. And like people are actually doing dosaging now, so I learned proper dosaging. I was like, oh, this is what works for me. It was very exciting. Like I was super excited because I'm like, we need this in our community. We need to understand dosing and not think that you just gotta keep going, right? Because there's a pause, there's a stop.
Right.
And people were really trying to get me to vape. Like they were like, oh, you should just go ahead and vape. But I was like, vaping ain't for me, okay? Because it made me feel like I needed it more. And then it was easy access right there. But then I'm like, I feel like I'm missing something. So I'm like, vaping ain't for me. So I try to explain that to people too.
I loved about vaping, and that sucked me into habitual thing all day
The
long.
ritual of
The
it.
ritual, I would not let it out of my hand.
Yeah.
I need I need my security blanket.
But see, I didn't want to go back there though, because remember, I'm talking about I'm on post-heal status now, right? Because I was at that point where I needed my crutch 24/7, and I had to have my J, like I had to have my J,
But I
right?
was doing it too, I guess, before I really knew anything. But then, as a concentrate, all vape pens are concentrates, except for the raw flower vape pens. How do you dose? How do you titrate? How do you microdose a concentrate? You
It
don't.
would be difficult for me to do that, and I didn't want to again create an addiction.
Right. And
So
so,
I got back into my edibles. It was all about the food, right? But
yeah,
then I learned it's not just like the food, but you can actually make product with it. So I started to create this body cream that like we use for everything, right? And I'm like, cannabis as a plant is just beautiful. Like I knew that when I was 19, 20, saying I was going to smoke weed to the day I die. I didn't realize like how intently and that statement would be, right?
right.
Because literally that's what it is.
Yes. Yeah. You've told us about one of your client patients that your salve has helped so much. Would you mind relaying that story to our audience here?
Is this like well, it's a few actually, but my very first
Yeah, give
actually
it your
what got
best.
me. Well, it's actually two. I have two very first. So one is actually an athlete, right? And I met her. I used to do like vendings at jazz night in DC on R Street, right at this house. They had like a jazz thing going on. It was beautiful, and it was like my vibe because I'm older. I'm not going to be like going to a pop up shop and doing things like that, right? So 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 she was like, I wanna try your cream to see how it's gonna help me because she was using the vegan cookies I was making for her. Okay, this is a vegan infused cookie I was making for her. And
Cool.
it was gluten free, a vegan gluten free snickerdoodle. And so I
Oh
was like,
my
okay,
God.
I'm gonna experiment and I'm gonna let you try to see how because you're a runner. I want to see how it works for you. She was like, girl, that cream. Let me tell you, that cream got her through marathons. Okay, like she's
Oh,
a runner. That cream got her through marathons for years. Okay. And then
wow.
she went through surgeries and using the cookies and the cream for her healing and,
Oh,
recovery versus using like opiates and stuff, right? So that's one story. But my other story is for one of my elderly clients. He first began using it because I was doing samples. When I first started making it, I was giving out samples.
uh-huh.
And one of my track parents, so I don't know if you know about indoor track meets. You're literally sitting on bleachers all day,
Oh my.
like all day. Okay. When I say all day, like all day. But he
That's
was
all.
talking about his knees, so he started to use the cream, like my samples to rub on his knees. He was like, I need to get some of that cream, right? So I was like, this is a beautiful thing. So he became a client because he gets the cream, but they get the THC version. So legally, I can't sell the THC version, right?
Right.
So I started to experiment with hemp too, and this is back in 2019. So I was like, I have to be able to make this cream so that it can be available for other people. So then that's why I started to blend my hemps and make it just as a hemp cream as well. And then I also have separately the THC cream, and then also a blend of all three cannabinoids, major
And
cannabinoids.
how's the business been with the rolling laws? Uh, in Canada
Well, I still can't
since
sell THC
2019.
cream
Right.
because I'm not a dispensary, right? I'm
Not
not a
even not
manufacturer.
even point three.
No, you can sell the hemp cream. I can
Okay.
sell my hemp creams. My hemp creams do well. As a matter of fact, someone just came to my booth on Sunday. I have a farmer's market stand, and they were like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy you were here because I haven't been there in a month, right? Just because my kids' activities and stuff." She's like, please tell me you have some of your cream with you. And I typically don't bring it because when it gets warm outside, it's easy to
All right.
melt. But I
Right.
keep it in the cooler. So I was like, I actually do have some. She was like, yes, thank you. She was like, I took it with me to my mom's house, and my mom loved it so much she wanted to keep it. But I was like, I really love it too. So I've been trying to come here to see if you had some cream. And I'm so happy that you're here today.
What are your major ingredients in your cream?
Mango butter. I use
Mango
mango
butter.
butter.
Stop it. God, that sounds divine.
I use because most people use shea butter, but I tested both of them and I like the mango butter better. So I use the mango butter.
I wonder if you could use it in your hair.
You use it everywhere.
Everywhere.
Well, yeah, I haven't done like vaginally yet, but for people who like have hemorrhoids, you can use it on hemorrhoids too.
Oh my gosh. I bet that would be a real serious relief.
Yep.
People get real constipated on polypharmacy.
Yes.
And hemorrhoids are a real thing. I hadn't even thought about that, honey, but you're right.
Yeah.
They'll
Use on hemorrhoids.
really get have issues.
Yeah, we use it for my grandfather. He uses it for his sores, like the bed sores too.
Oh God, yes. And beds.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty serious.
So my whole thing is because I'm not, I don't have the capital for like excessive marketing and all those things. So, I just do my farmers market stand and people hear about me through word of mouth.
Okay. Well, good. Is there a way to contact you? And do you have a site that we could see maybe with your products on it?
Yeah, I have some things on there, but the body butter is definitely on there. It's we're surviving.com. So it's WERE surviving.com. That's the
Okay.
website for the brand, for the wellness brand. And my bakery website is stribbletreats.com. But I don't suggest anyone try to order through that website because it's janky. It
Well, then
takes
let's
days for me to get
with the
notification.
first one. What was
Yeah,
the
but
first one? Say that one again.
we're surviving, WERE surviving.com. And
Okay.
also my email is striblife@gmail.com. So STRIB life@gmail.com.
Awesome. Gosh, I'm such a blabbermouth. I've got a podcast and I talk about cannabis all the time. But now all I want to talk about is beta caryophyllene and your product because it has given me my future back. I want everybody to know about this because, for heaven's sakes, I've never seen anything like this product in the prescription world.
How does it compare with cannabis?
I'm quite surprised. Oh, I'm quite surprised because cannabis didn't do it for me. Beta caryophyllene did. And if you know the real truth about both products, they're both terpenes. Cannabinoids are really terpenes. I just am surprised that even though I had all the compounds in cannabis, it was a concentration of beta caryophyllene that really did the trick for me.
This has been fabulous, and I really appreciate it. I want to get it out to everybody too. I want to get it out to the whole world, as a matter of fact. It has so many mitigating factors for all the stresses of life and pain and diseases. It is unbelievable what the spectrum of care that it can provide.
I'm so glad that we had a chance finally just to hang out and chat about cannabis.
Right.
Are you using cannabis all day long for your particular needs?
Yes, I do microdose.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I microdose.
What else? Oh, I've
I
got
use the body butter as well.
yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
Yes.
Candle from Relax and CBD, and it's in a jar about yay big. And you light the candle, and the stuff melts, and then you blow the candle out and pour it in your hand, and rub all that in, and that's your oil, nice warm oil of hemp that goes in, and that's a real good one. But now that that I know about your product, I'll order one of your salves too, and use it because as a farm girl, oh my gosh, carrying bales of hay and buckets of water and getting pecked from the turkey all day long.
I know. I'm just new at this farm life and I'm not even in all them buckets. I'm not buckets deep yet. So we have 4 chickens. They supposed to have been 4 hens, but one of them is a him.
Are you going to be able to
So
keep him where you live?
we're not supposed to, but we would feel so
Crazy.
bad to get rid of him.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So far we decide we're just gonna keep him.
Well, you're going to have lots of eggs,
We
right?
want the eggs though. That was the whole purpose, was for the
Yeah.
eggs. I have 4 children at home who eat a lot, and I
Yeah.
also have the bakery, so I could use the eggs, and also
Eggs
for
will
the
be.
garden, right?
Yes.
So
I
I'm trying to
want
be
a
like
vertical
really.
garden, and I want it on a Ferris wheel so that I can just pull the next plot down and pick from, harvest my garden, and then have the next one come down and harvest my. Don't you love that idea? I saw it,
That would be dope.
giant Ferris wheel in a great big warehouse that somebody was doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. How many turkeys do you have?
I've got 3, and one
3
of them
turkeys?
gets ready to become dinner if she doesn't knock off that aggressive attitude of hers. I'm
So,
like,
so that's what I asked my husband if we got to the point where we're gonna be ready to process them, would he be willing to go ahead and kill the chickens? And he
oh,
just
I am
looked at me.
so ready.
He ain't ready. He ain't ready. You know,
On
my
the
husband is 100% city boy.
first turkey that was up here when I got up here, she's my pet, and she loves me, and I'd never eat her, but I don't mind thinking about eating the other 2. They're just
That's funny. Do you have any
naughty.
chickens, or do you have any chickens too?
No, but we've got 5 ducks, and they are messy. You can't go out in the backyard without, the backyard
Yeah.
on.
Yes. Yes. I can imagine. I just think about the geese. The geese, when the geese come in the community, it's just poop
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah. And they're so loud, aren't they? They are loud. I was
They are.
weekend somewhere, and oh my, I didn't realize how noisy they could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just never, it's just amazing for me right now just to sit here and be like, I'm actually like doing things that I dreamt that I wanted to have when I was younger.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so good for us as women to be able to manifest the life that we really want, don't you think?
It is important. It's very important.
LaWann, I feel like women are rising,
I
and
agree.
and we're trying to connect deeply and trying to pass on the wisdom of our ancestors, you know, um, caring, caregiving, loving, nurturing, helping, networking, not competing, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's definitely important. And um to try to have that take precedence over what society pushes is so important. Like
Yeah.
it's so important because we are severely damaged from
Our
societal things.
society. I
Right.
agree. I agree. I agree. I've really turned off the news. I don't watch television anymore. I watch cable, but I don't ever watch anything that leads off with a woman's rape or death or murder,
You sound like me, except for like documentaries, because I love documentaries,
Love
right?
stories.
But I cannot watch anything dark, like at all.
No, I go for the old Santa Claus movies, and and all of that. Oh, what clown is trying to get me? Nope, not right now.
But yeah, it's true. And I think it's just because, you know, you're out in the garden and stuff and outside, so you have the connection with nature as well. I think that's why I tell people at some point, like even with my daycare kids, why I introduce them to the outside things in nature, because it can help guide them into, you know, exploring different things versus the structural things that we're conditioned to learn or do, right?
Yes,
So
I I have become more and more involved with women's networking groups, and I'm surprised I didn't think of it sooner. I didn't take it more seriously sooner. you know, there's something going on, and we really are trying to lift each other and change our society. Cannabis is the catalyst for that because it can instantly help us feel better in so many ways because of this ancient receptor system we already have in our body.
Right. Right.
So
Well, I think that had a lot to do why prohibition was so important as well, because, this is back when we were all commingling together as one. Um, and it wasn't about your ethnicity, right? It was just coming together and having a great time and enjoy some good music, right?
yeah,
But the possibilities of that, like, just imagine the world if there were never cannabis prohibition. Imagine what it would
how
be
we
so beautiful.
excelled.
It would be like, it wouldn't be so much hatred.
Right,
It wouldn't be so much dryness in the air, right?
right.
It would be so much beauty like all around us and people of kindness, right?
And
And I'm
gratitude.
like, all that happened because of prohibition, people don't want to address. But let's get to the foundations of what it was before prohibition.
Yeah, right. Better than that. Even better than that, because now we have science to.
Yes, because this is true, because the science part is definitely important, and having the doctors who care enough to do the research, because that too is important. I'm not a medical professional. I can just talk about my lived experiences, right?
Yeah,
Which is
me
very
too.
important too. But to have someone who really has the education to back it up is so important.
I spoke to a doctor the other day who didn't understand about prohibition. She was a Ronald Reagan type, just say no, Nancy Reagan doctor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when she began listening to my story and understood the science I was speaking, you could see this slow burn come over her face of realization that
Yeah.
information
Um,
had been prohibited from her little black bag.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
she was pissed.
I bet. Well, that's why we have the nurses too, because they have the nurses in the fight, and the nurses are doing the work that needs to be done to fight for us as patients.
And suffragettes and
Yeah.
nurses. I mean, really, they've always been leading suffragettes for women on this planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's no big surprise they got the message about cannabis before, anybody else, because they were there nursing all the AIDS patients who were trying to
Exactly.
find, and they were there
Exactly.
nursing all of the autistic kids whose parents were trying to find relief, and they were there, helping all of the kids with seizures
Yeah.
when people were trying to find relief. So yeah, our nurses have been wonderful. And then and then right there beside them are caregivers who, just have to do the work.
Yeah. I registered as a caregiver in Maryland because I was like, it was important. This was my pivot because I couldn't afford step one back in 2019 to be a processor. So it's like there has got to be a way that I can still contribute and help our community, but still do it semi-legally. So they have the option to register as a caregiver, and it's great. I mean, they limit you to only 3 patients, which is ridiculous, but you can still be able to assist and then have that, like, I'm a registered caregiver for the state of Maryland. I put it on my flyers, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a real thing.
Yes, it's a cred. And
Yes.
that reminds me, because I want you to meet my friend Cindy Rogers, who has
Okay.
accredited home healthcare directory, and
Okay.
it's a nationwide thing. And she and Megan Bing, Megan of Trusted Cana Nurse.
Okay. Yes.
So she's doing a thing. I'm involved with Cindy, and her directory is for caregivers and nursing staff to go into the home. And
Okay.
already been vetted because they've got la 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 credentials that are required by her directory. So I really
Okay.
love you to hook up, and then we can get you on the national list for
Yes, please. Thank you.
accredited home health care.
Yes. Yeah, that's not working. I like try to go to the meetings we have locally, like when Luminous Health comes to have meetings just to hear what they're talking about and the programs they're bringing, and then I ask my questions because it's important that we have this access to, again, from a woman's perspective.
Right.
Because I'm it's so much I can talk about. There's so many things I don't talk about. But I had my first child when I was 19 years old, just before I turned 19, so I was still technically 18. But I had him 12 days before I turned 19.
Mhm.
But I had no one to talk to me about the improper things that a doctor may say or do, right? And then how you can protect yourself from those things. And then the long lasting effect it may have on you to not even want to go back to the OBGYN, So there's so much that it's just so much.
There's so much that a little girl and a young girl and a young woman have to go through emotionally. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm glad we're powering up as women and together to help those little girls like you and
right, the younger generation. And
Right.
I've always my favorite song since I was a kid is Whitney Houston's The Greatest Love of All, and every word is so true. I've always believed that the children are our future, and we have to protect them and show them how much they're loved, right? And it's so crazy because I'm a young girl myself listening to this, but wanting those things for myself as a young girl.
Right. Well, honey, I just love chatting with you. Thank you so much for helping my audience understand what it's like to be a caregiver who is in the cannabis industry, uses cannabis herself, and advocates for its health and wellness throughout our society. I'm with you, Mama. I'm standing right beside you and want to help uplift you as much and because I see the work that you've done and I appreciate you being on this planet to help others, honey.
Thank you so much, honey, for all you're doing as well. It's definitely needed. It's important. And I'll be here all the time so that we can support each other and keep moving forward because this train is not stopping.
There you go. Oh, say, are you on Facebook by any chance? Because
I am on Facebook.
You are? Okay, well,
I have all my businesses on Facebook. So I have my name, which is LaWann Stribling, but I have also Stribble Treats and Cann A Woman Heal is on there. And also the farm is Stribble Homestead or Stribble Farms, I think.
Well,
but it's all on my link bio.
Look up, okay, so that we can shove our shit around the socials.
Okay.
All right, because that'll help. That'll help push the algorithms and do all that. So let's let's start sharing our worlds, and that'll uplift not only you and me, but others too. We hope, right?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So great being with you, darling. Take care, and I'll see you not this Sunday. No Cannabis Public School this Sunday because it's too close to Labor Day, right? It's Labor Day weekend, right?
It is Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day or Memorial Day?
Labor. Because it's September. We're going into September, so it's Labor.
Thank you. That's right.
You're welcome.
I get confused.
I don't know, because I know it's been so long since you had to worry about going back to school, but that's how we remember to the school.
Right. Okay, honey. Thanks so much. So great being with you, and much love.
Take care. You too. Okay, bye-bye.
You've been listening to another Cannabis Truth podcast with 21st century cannabis shaman Honey Smith Walls. It is important to use verifiably safe products and look out for yourself while we're in this wild, wild west of cannabis right now. Ask for help. It can get complicated. If you need serious medical attention, please consult one of the specialists at cannabisclinicians.org. They will get you to the right person and therapy for your issues. Tune in here for weekly foundational knowledge and learn to determine the best choices and cannabis strategies for your issues. But please be advised that shamans are not doctors or scientists. You'll find those at cannabisclinicians.org. Unless otherwise proven by a reputable third-party lab test, please regard all street weed as contaminated. It may do grave harm to a patient with a delicate immune system who already has inflammatory issues like arthritis, IBS, fibromyalgia, or worse. Thank you for your time today.